Episode 396. Transform countless beings with compassion, a limited understanding. In the following verse, spiritual practice is about cultivating our mind. We should have great loving kindness and compassion, and feel Dharma joy and blissful equanimity. Thus, we will diligently cultivate the four infinite minds. Master says we must always maintain an inclusive and expansive mindset of great loving kindness and compassion. Spiritual practitioners' minds should be as vast as the universe, as this is the Buddha's enlightened state. Master often says that our hearts must be broad and our thoughts must be pure. When our minds are broad, and we would nurture compassion. Through loving kindness, we put our compassionate vows into practice, giving ourselves to meet the needs of others. So this is having great loving kindness and compassion. Now when we give with compassion, we can always feel Dharma joy and blissful equanimity. If we can always practice giving, then our minds will become very pure and our very thought will be wholesome and kind. Then there will be no attachment that our minds cannot let go of, and there will be no one that we cannot get along with. Thus, with broad hearts and pure thoughts, nothing can make us unhappy. Even when facing difficulties, we consider them as adverse existing conditions. We can accept them happily with blissful equanimity, meaning regardless of who the other person is, we will give happily, we will serve happily, and help happily. So all good things in the world comes from giving happily, and this is Dharma joy and blissful equanimity. Master says when we practice giving out of a sense of joy, then we are also cultivating the four infinite minds, and they are infinite loving kindness without regret, infinite compassion without resentment, infinite joy without worry, and infinite equanimity without expectations. These four infinite minds are indispensable for Bodhisattva practitioners. During the Buddha's lifetime, he was able to personally teach the Dharma. Would the Buddha Dharma disappear too? So the Buddha exercised his compassion and wisdom for the sake of sentient beings of the future. This is why he encouraged using various means and images to guide people to take the Dharma into their hearts. Today, Master shared of the story, there was one time when the Buddha clipped his fingernails and asked a bhikkhu to bring them to Kashmir and assemble a group of spiritual practitioners in the mountains. This bhikkhu respectfully brought the Buddha's fingernails to Kashmir, where 500 monastics were there to receive the fingernails with reverence to build a stupa there. Now on this mountain, there also lived a troop of 500 monkeys. Every day, these monkeys would observe the monastics building the stupa. And as the monks constructed the stupa, they prostrated with reverence. Seeing this, the monkeys started to imitate the monks' actions and began to collect various materials and pile them up just like a stupa. As the monastic prostrated, the monkeys also prostrated. Then one day, it started to rain heavily all of a sudden. Huge volumes of water gushed down from the mountaintop, and all the 500 monkeys were washed away. None of them survived, but they were all reborn in the heavenly realm. The monkeys were amazed when they used their heavenly eyes to see what they had done in the past that brought them to heaven. They saw that they were there because they prostrated as reverently as the monks did when they built the stupa. All of them felt a great sense of reverence and joy. Simply based on this blessed condition, they were reborn in the heavenly realm. So these 500 heavenly beings descended to the Buddha's abode to pay their respects to him and give thanks for his compassion and wisdom in sending the bhikkhu to build the stupa, because it provided them with a chance to imitate them. Thus, as we learn the Buddha's way any causes and conditions can inspire benevolence in us and the power of our love. As in the verse, people such as these gradually accumulated merits and virtues. Replete with great compassion, they have all realized the path to Buddhahood. They teach the Bodhisattva way to transform and liberate countless multitudes. This means people who built temples to busts, shrines, and statues became joyful, and they gradually accumulated merits and virtues. And when other people saw what they had done, those people also reverently prostrated. So then those who reverently prostrated also gradually accumulate merits and virtues and were inspired to seek the Dharma and put them into practice. So these external phenomenon can bring purity to our minds, and it is also a way that we can realize the path to Buddhahood. So in everything the Buddha taught, he hoped that we could bring tangible Dharma semblance into our hearts so we could return to the Buddha's right Dharma. And when we have obtained the Dharma, we feel happy and can then guide others to accept the Dharma so that they can feel the same Dharma joy. And that is how we can transform and liberate countless multitudes. Now, people who with utmost reverence build stupas, shrines, and so on, they spread the Dharma in this world, and they gradually accumulate merits and virtues over a long period of time, because these images that remain in the world are something tangible that can inspire everyone. And this is how we can create things to provide guidance to people. Not only we can guide them, we can inspire ourselves to form aspirations. Our internal cultivation is about refining our own character. If we are spiritually refined, then naturally we will treat others with humility and respect and constantly express our gratitude to everyone and everything. So gratitude, respect, and love are what we internally cultivate and externally practice. As in the verse, virtuous people internally cultivate their character and externally practice humility and respect. Internally cultivating honesty, integrity, faith, and steadfastness is a merit. Externally practicing loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity is a virtue. And what we attain through internal cultivation and external practice is called merits and virtues. Bodhisattvas always seek to understand sentient beings' suffering, and this is the Bodhisattva's compassion for sentient beings who are facing all kinds of suffering. It is something that Bodhisattvas cannot bear, so they try to save and relieve them and enable them to attain liberation. This is great compassion. With utmost sincerity and earnestness, Bodhisattvas have no expectations or resentment. Without expectations is the state of equanimity. Without resentment is the state of compassion. Having great loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity is then the true mindset of a bodhisattva. And if we can achieve this, then we have realized the path to Buddhahood. Bodhisattvas want everyone to be mindful. In the four infinite minds, joy is said to be freedom from worries and sorrows. So we should always have a broad mind to seek the true Dharma of the one vehicle and transform and liberate countless multitudes. These various methods are all used to guide bodhisattvas to form great aspirations and then to transform others. Even though these are skillful means, they actually contain very profound Dharma. So everyone, please be mindful always.感恩 for listening in, brothers and sisters. May wisdom and inspiration be with all always.